Hi, this is Zach here with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 11th of April. Starting off with the S&P, and here you can see the rising trend channel, obviously still well entrenched. It's been that case since back in October. The 50-day line, which is notional support, other markets have tested that, and in fact the Dow's even gone below it. 5,100 at the moment, so above that we're looking for a retest of the best levels towards 5250. Best case would be by the end of next month up to as high as 5,400, but obviously at the moment that seems a long way away. On the downside, if we do break down back below the 50-day line, then there's a risk of 5020, which is the floor of that rising October trend channel. Next up is the Nasdaq 100, and here we're on the 50-day line, and we've been sort of dancing with that for the last week or so. The 50-day line there at 17,900. Below that, looking at the floor of the rising trend channel from back in October, 17,300 is a worst-case scenario. On the upside, by the end of next month, I suppose now, one would be looking for 19,200 at the top of that rising October feature. The RSI just below the neutral 50 level, so that is a warning that we could be heading lower, but so far with the 50-day line still rising and support at and around that, we probably give the upside the benefit of the doubt, especially as we have that rising trend channel. Moving on to the stocks, and good to see quite a few repeat situations from the recent past, which is normally a good thing. It means that the trend has continued in a particular stock. Starting off with Adial, and here a bit of a messy situation. Rising trend channel base from back in October, hit the top of the channel, but then came back down to the bottom of the channel, gapped up back above the 50-day line, around $1.50. Probably in the near term, one we'll be looking at recent resistance around $2.10 above that on an end-of-day close basis. Looking for a retest of March resistance and maybe up to the top of that rising trend channel from October as high as $4.40 by the end of next month, but the key here is staying on the right side of $2. Next situation is coming up quickly, Alliance Entertainment, and here you can see that we've got decent support building within a rising trend channel which has been in place since, basically back in August, in fact. And good to see the 50-day line rising since basically the beginning of the year. That's providing support around the $1.70 area, as is the floor of the channel. So above 170, we're looking for up to $4 plus by the end of next month, and hopefully we'll have a clearance of the near-term or post-August resistance, $2.30 resistance zone, which is clearly the level to break. On to another mover and shaker in the near term, and it's Alpine Immune Sciences here, breaking to new highs within a rising trend channel. You can see before we were in a broadening triangle base and eventually broke to the upside back in December. Current situation, though, is we've got that rising trend channel from in place since October. Top of the channel currently heading towards the $54 level, and we're looking for that by the end of this month, while we remain above recent resistance at $42, and hopefully we can stay above, well above that old resistance area. One of the frequent flyers here in the recent past has been Cazoo, and it's back again, and here you can see that we've got the shares broken out of the broadening triangle base that they were in from the beginning of the year. Top of that triangle now, rather mysteriously providing support around $9.75, and above that we're looking for a retest of the $20 area, basically the spike resistance of last month, and also resistance back in December, but ideally we're still on the right side of that triangle top. Another stock which has featured here quite regularly is coming up now, and here we've got Dogness. The picture here that the shares basically within that rising trend channel in place since November. Support here around the $5.35 level, and the floor of that channel. Ideally, we find support at the 50-day line instead, which is a bit higher than that, $6.10 or so. So above $6.10, looking for $10 again on Dogness, hopefully later this month. Another repeat comes in the form of Etao, and here a bit of a dance at the lows, a rising trend channel base, but the shares remaining above the floor of that channel and closing above the 50-day line there around $4.20. Above that 50-day line, looking for $7.50 perhaps as soon as the end of next month, or even sooner than that, because obviously when this stock moves, it can really move. Yet another repeat, which is good, in the form of Iczoom, and here one of the strongest run of price action that you could expect to see. Shares have obviously nearly quadrupled in the recent past, and just heading towards the resistance line, July resistance line projection there as high as $45, hopefully, as the top of this move. At the moment, probably the mid 30s, 34, 35 is the stop loss if you can manage that. A situation which is obviously going to pale into insignificance compared to Iczoom is Lipocine, but it's done well nevertheless. 3 days in a row up, and that was after an unfilled gap to the upside, so not far behind the Iczoom situation. Rising trend channel here from back in June last year, top of the channel there, heading for $8. We're looking for that by the end of April, while we remain above $6 on an end of day close basis. You can see that was the old resistance as well back in the summer. Another regular is coming up, Motorsport Games, and here it's been a bit problematic in terms of escaping that falling trend channel, but the main thing is to look at here is that the way the 50-day line is now rising, and we've got support above that, so looking for $4 perhaps as soon as the end of this month, and maybe even sooner than that. Moving along to one of the more high-profile winners of this year, I suppose it's the NVIDIA of 2024. Here we've got a rising trend channel from MicroStrategy, bouncing off basically the neckline support area, which I suppose is between $1,300 and $1,400. But at least while we're above the notional floor of that channel, around $1,380, looking for the shares to eventually get up to as high as $2,300 or $2,400 by the end of next month. Be cautious, probably wait for the shares to break that line of resistance that we've had since the end of last month, running around the 1600 zone. So get prepared for that. On to the last two, and the first one is rent. And here you can see that we're having a go at a recovery here, broadening triangle base potentially, breaking out of that falling wedge versus around the $6.50 level. Initial target there, the 50-day moving average at $8.20, otherwise perhaps as high as $16 by the end of next month. Obviously that's a punchy call, but maybe this is a punchy stock. Finishing off with Telomir, and here a stock we have covered recently as well. Breaking out of that triangle there around the $6.20 area above that, looking for the top of the recent range up towards the $10 mark. Hopefully we can get that by the end of this month. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.